Hello, everyone. In this video, we're going to wrap up by bringing supply and demand back together. First question we want to ask is, how is the price of a good determined? And this is going to be through market forces of both supply and demand. And bringing supply and demand together, we have the law of supply and demand. We've examined supply and demand separately, but we want to see how these interact. So the law of supply and demand is that the market price of any good will adjust to bring the quantity supplied and the quantity demanded into balance. This goes back to that invisible hand that we talked about before. And this is the real power and potential of supply and demand analysis. And it's predicting how prices and output in the entire market will change. So with supply and demand, we have our equilibrium price, and this is going to be where the quantity supplied is equal to the quantity demanded, and the price that basically clears out the entire market. Every buyer gets what they want, and every seller sells what they intend. Equilibrium quantity is going to be the quantity at which quantity demanded is equal to quantity supplied. So at market equilibrium, all buyers can find sellers, all sellers can find buyers, and everyone is happy. This is going to be the intersection of the demand and supply curves, but it's also important to talk about why this is where equilibrium happens. Before we start to examine this graphically, I want to talk about shortages. So shortages are going to occur when our quantity demand is, or our quantity demanded is greater than our quantity supplied. This is going to happen at any price below equilibrium, because our buyers are demanding a lot of a product, but our sellers aren't willing to give them this product because that price is too low. It's below that equilibrium. What's going to happen when a shortage occurs is that our price is going to rise over time to get back to that equilibrium. Now, the question that a lot of people ask here is, why does the price rise over time when there's a shortage? And that's because consumers will basically outbid other consumers until we get back to that equilibrium quantity. So when we have a shortage, some buyers can't find sellers, and buyers are going to basically have to bid that price up to compete for that limited amount. And sellers will then in turn respond to that price increase and start producing more. As that price is rising toward equilibrium, the quantity demanded will fall because of the laws of demand. Price is going up, demand goes down. That quantity supplied will rise because of the law of supply. So as price goes up, supply goes up as well. And this will continue to happen until we make it back to that equilibrium point. Next up, we want to take a look at surpluses. So these occur when our quantity supplied is greater than that quantity demanded, and it's whenever our price is anywhere above that equilibrium. What's going to happen here is that some sellers won't be able to find buyers, so that price will have to fall over time to get back to that equilibrium. And why does that price fall over time with the surplus? Well, firms are going to have to lower prices to get rid of their mounting or building up inventories. Here we have a graph of both supply and demand. So with these graphs, I know that if you're getting into economics and you're rather new, these can look a little bit overwhelming, but you want to take it piece by piece. We have our demand curve that we have seen before and our supply curve that we've seen before as well. We're just putting them both onto one particular graph. Price is still on that y-axis, and that quantity or pounds per month of this particular product is going to be on that x-axis. So the quantity demanded and quantity supplied is what we're looking at here. Equilibrium is going to be where those lines intersect. So point E is our equilibrium at a price of $10 per pound. The quantity supplied and quantity demanded will both be $500. Now, if the price is only $5, well, obviously demand is going to go up to point B, so more people are going to be demanding the product, but supply is going to go down to point A, because as that price goes down, suppliers are going to supply less. In this case, we have a shortage because we have a demand of 750, but a supply of only 250. You can see here that shortage is going to be the difference in that quantity demanded and the quantity supplied. And that's going to be a shortage of 500 units. We take that quantity demanded minus that quantity supplied, and we get that shortage. Over time, those buyers that can't find salmon, which is what we're looking at here, will bid the price up. And as that price rises, that quantity demanded will fall back to that 500, and that quantity supplied will move back up to that 500 as well. If the price goes up to $15, there's going to be a quantity supplied at point F of 750 and a quantity demanded all the way back only at point C of 250. In this case, we have a surplus because we have a greater supply than that demand that is present. And in that case, suppliers will have to lower their price, which will eventually move us back to that equilibrium point as well. Let's look at a practice what you know. So suppose there's a shortage in the market for avocados, and we're assuming a competitive and unrestrained market. What's going to happen over time if there's a shortage for avocados? Over time, what will happen is that the price is going to rise of avocados and the market will eventually reach equilibrium. Now, this slide and the next couple of slides are going to give you a really good cheat sheet if you're taking notes for your exam. And what they do is it just gives you all of our demand and supply laws and impacts summarized into 2 slides. So here we have a change where demand increases, a change where supply increases, and we're looking at what's going to be graphically happening and what's going to be that impact on price. And then on this next slide as well, we can see if demand decreases or supply decreases. So this is a really good place to get a nice summary if you're trying to make everything kind of concise for your notes. And it's going to make it a lot easier for you to kind of compile things as you begin to study for your exam. Overall, if you're going to take just one thing away from this course, I would highly recommend that it be supply and demand. It's a very powerful tool for talking about market changes. And we know that in competitive markets, supply and demand will always allow prices to adjust toward equilibrium, and that overall we're working towards no surpluses or shortages if we're able to get to that equilibrium number. That is going to wrap up this particular chapter. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Otherwise, you can head back over to Blackboard to check out the next one. Thank you.